Hey everyone, morning. This is Dr. Rader here. I want to go over something with you here today that I think is real pertinent towards the end of the year here as we move out of 2020 and move into 2021. I think it's very important to make sure that we're staying on top of our goals right now, making new goals, reflecting on the year. Obviously, it's been a kind of a crazy year for a lot of us. It's been a kind of a mixed bag, right? There's been a lot of crazy things happened, and a lot of these things have been out of our control. And so I'm a firm believer that you can only control what you can control, right? You can't control your outside environment. And your outside environment right now is filled with distractions. And if you let those distractions consume you, it will definitely affect your business and your life and your family and everything else. So it's really important about knowing, having routines, having things that you say no to, focusing on what your priorities are in life, obviously, and minimizing the amount of distractions that you get coming from places that don't serve you or don't serve your practice. Okay, so today's talk is mainly, I'll keep it as short as I can here. It'll be mainly focused around goals, how I did it. Now, I think it's important that everybody creates their own mechanisms and routines for setting goals and modifying their goals and tracking their goals throughout the year. I think it's more important to have a routine and be consistent at that routine than it is any specific person's regimen, right? I found something that worked for me, and mine's probably much different than most. After all those years of struggle in the beginning, I never even watched my stats. And this is a big one, guys. If you look at the overall, here it is goals for 2021 and beyond, right? One of the big things that actually will make or break your practice is your stats, okay? If you don't have proper stats, which I find a lot of doctors that I coach don't in the beginning, especially when you have numbers that aren't quite to your expectation, it's painful to look at your stats. But at one point in my practice, after struggling for so long in the early years, I knew that I had to begin looking at my stats. My coach said, "Look at your stats," and I was embarrassed by them, and I wasn't excited by them. And so I basically put them under the rug, and I wasn't looking at them, and I didn't keep proper stats, so I didn't know what the true numbers were. So I couldn't really control marketing. I really couldn't determine, not from an emotional standpoint, but from a detailed standpoint, where the practice really was. And it wasn't until I started keeping better stats that I could really keep an eyeball on what's happening in the practice and be able to move it to the levels I wanted to move it. But this is one of the areas that I feel a lot of doctors fall short. And especially on the front end, especially when you're doing marketing, the phones are extremely important. If you're not watching your phones, if you're not watching the schedule rates, the show rates, number of calls, number of opportunities that you have, if you're not watching those numbers, you have no idea and you're blindsided. And so a lot of doctors that do any type of pay-per-click marketing, they don't have the proper systems, they don't have the proper staff set up, so they don't necessarily always succeed in pay-per-click marketing. And they call it a failure oftentimes when it's not. It's basically just not having the right systems and tools in place to be able to capitalize on it. Okay, so this is important. If you'll do one thing, doctors, if you're weak on stats, if you really improve your stats and know what the critical numbers are in your stats, if you focus on this one thing in 2021, I promise you, you'll probably increase your practice by $100,000 to $200,000 next year. Because what it does, it allows you to pay very specific, close attention to what your goals are, right? How do you know if you're meeting your objective or your goals if you don't have proper stats, right? Okay, consistency, having consistency in a routine. My routine was kind of odd, different. My routine was, I'm a movie buff. I like to go see movies, and when I was in Texas, I went to a place called Studio Movie Grill, and I would get there every weekend, on Saturday typically, if I would, most weekends I try to go to movies because I really enjoyed them. But I go to the movie like 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time. What I would do is I'd bring my binder, I'd bring my spreadsheet on my phone, and I would set and review my stats every single week. I would look to see what number I was going to hit. Say my number that month I wanted to hit was 100,000. Okay, 2 weeks in on the 15th, where's Dr. Rader? Oh shit, he's only at 45K. How the heck? Okay, we got to pick it up a step to get to this number, right? So I always knew every week where I was, and if I needed to make adjustments the next week, I could. You can't just take a monthly goal, say, hey, I want to hit 100,000 this month, and then look at it in the month and say, oh shit, I missed it. No, every week you gotta look at that, and actually you gotta break it down to every day so you know what your weekly goal is. Say my goal is to hit 40,000 every single week, right? Okay. I need to know every day on my stat sheets that my office staff gives me where I'm at to that 40,000. Am I close to that? Here it is. I work Monday through Thursday. It's Thursday morning, and I'm only sitting at $20,000. I got some room to make up. So, this is where you watch it on a granular level, and if you don't watch it on a granular level, you'll have a goal at the end of the year, and you'll oftentimes end up way short of that goal because you didn't go through the routine. You didn't go through the consistency every single day, every single week. Review those goals, readjust those goals, because we don't always hit every single one of our monthly goals, right? Say our goal is to hit 80,000 one month, right, or 80K, but we only hit 65K that month. That means next month we're going to need to make up another 15K, right? And so you watch and track that throughout the year so that way you really hit what you're trying to do. Okay, so best advice I can give you is right now, between now and the end of the year, and if you need help with this, please reach out to me. But right now, between now and the end of the year, sit down in a quiet place, spend an hour reviewing what your vision is for 2021. Let go of whatever happened in 2020. Take what good you have from 2020, anything that you've learned, use that into 2021 to make yourself better, to increase your game. You're always increasing your game. You're always making your office better, right? To provide for you and your family and create the lifestyle that you want. But sit down, write out what you want. What do you want? Why do you want it? Why do you really want to create $1 million cash practice? A single doctor cash practice. Why do you want that? What meaning does that have to you? Figure out what that meaning is. Attach something very strong to that. If you don't have something, keep looking for that, right? Have meaning for what you want to achieve, because numbers are numbers. Money doesn't always make people happy. I even know in my own experience, having more money doesn't always make you happier at the end of the day. So have some meaning behind that. Why do you want to achieve that? What will give you? Have some small rewards. Reward yourself. Okay? Reward yourself or your family when you have good months. It inspires you, it keeps you in the game, it keeps you improving, it gives you something to look forward to. So make sure you're rewarding yourself throughout the year too for these bigger goals that you're setting for yourself. Okay? So create a routine, stay consistent with that routine, whatever that routine is for you. I reviewed them every week when I went to the movies, and I tracked them every single day. I knew what I needed to produce daily and what I needed to hit weekly in order to hit my monthly goal, to hit my yearly goal, okay? So I hope this helps, doctors. It's not complicated, it's not brain science, but it is a ritual, it is a consistency, and it does take stats. Increase and get better at your stats this next year on the most important numbers. You'll increase your practice substantially in 2021. So hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.